guys, welcome to Bastion Time. This is Nintendo News. I'm your host, Bastion. I got that reversed from the way I usually say it. Whatever, I do what I want. Let's get on to that news. First of all, Sequelitis. If you're not familiar with the Game Grumps or Ego Raptor, Game Grumps is comprised of two guys, and one of those is a guy who used to go by Ego Raptor. Now he really just goes by his real name, Aaron, and he used to do this awesome series called Sequelitis, where he would talk about some of his favorite franchises and why some sequels in those franchises were not that great. And this time he pits A Link to the Past against Ocarina of Time, but it's not really about why he feels A Link to the Past is better than Ocarina of Time. It is to a small degree, but it's really more about why newer Zelda games, he feels, aren't as good as older Zelda games. And I don't know. I kind of agree and disagree with him for two completely different reasons. I do feel like it's silly of him to expect newer Zelda games to embrace those things that made older Zelda games what they were, because things evolve, things change. That would be like expecting Game Grumps to be exactly the same as when it was first designed, which I think the whole point of Game Grumps, correct me if I'm wrong, was really to provide commentary, critical commentary, to criticize the games that they were playing, not in a goofy or silly way, but to talk about things like game design, and it was supposed to be more of like a serious sort of debate about whether a game was good, whether the design was good or whatever, and really now it's just for the lulz completely. Like, at no point really anymore do they talk about game design. I mean, if they do, then it's just for the sake of the lulz. But, yeah, so anyways, the point is, things change and evolve, and that's just the way things are, right? So you can't expect Zelda to stay exactly the same forever. It has changed. It has, you know, he was talking about how in the old games it was much more open world, and now it's so linear, and some of the things that made Zelda so exciting back then, like you open a treasure chest and instantly you've got whatever's in that treasure chest or item, and now you open a treasure chest and you've got to wait for like a 15-second cutscene of Link dramatically opening the treasure chest, and that's the antithesis of what made the original Zelda games so exciting. And he's got a lot of good points there, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just that video games as a medium have become more cinematographic. But anyways, my point is not to do a counterpoint to his brilliant video, but just to tell you that it exists, and that if you haven't seen it for whatever reason, you should watch it. Even if you're going to completely disagree with it, it's still very amusing. I myself, if you want to know, kind of do agree with it. I kind of do prefer A Link to the Past to Ocarina of Time, but I think he takes it to an extreme that I wouldn't really go to. Some of the points he brings up, especially some of those against Skyward Sword, I feel like he's not really understanding that franchises evolve, and that's just what happens. But anyways, I digress. If you want to watch that video, there's a link for you down below. Our next bit of news is about the fact that Midna, you already know, she's been announced for Hyrule Warriors, but what we didn't know until recently is that she's first introduced as an enemy. That's crazy. I don't get that, but we'll come to understand why that's the case while we're playing the game, I'm sure. I'm sure actually they'll tell us more info about her. She'll probably get a trailer that we'll watch that will explain why that's first an enemy. It's very odd. I don't know. I do not know what to make of it yet because we have very few details, but yeesh. Anyways, that's it for this episode of Nintendo News. See you guys tomorrow for more news. See you then. Bye, guys.